The weight of gold. Sometimes wealth isn't a blessing, it's a test of the heart. What we do with power and riches often reveals who we truly are. He gained everything the world could offer, but lost what mattered most. The scriptures warn us, those who long to be rich fall into temptation. But what happens when one man learns this truth? Too late. There was once a young man named Nathan, born in a small town but destined, it seemed, for greatness. He was intelligent, ambitious, and driven by one desire, to rise above the poverty that had once shamed his family. When his father died, leaving behind debts and a crumbling house, Nathan made himself a vow. He would never be poor again. He worked tirelessly, first as an apprentice, then as a trader, and soon as a businessman. Everything he touched turned to profit. Before long, Nathan owned lands, houses, and even people's loyalty. But something began to change. He no longer had time for prayer. He no longer visited his mother's old friends in the village. When beggars came to his gate, he told his guards not to let them disturb him, that they brought bad luck. Among those beggars was an old man named Elijah. He was frail and sick, and every evening he sat by Nathan's gate, hoping for leftover bread. The servants often drove him away, but Elijah always came back, whispering softly, "God bless this house." Years passed. Nathan's mansion grew larger. His name became respected. Yet strangely, peace always escaped him. He could not sleep at night. His laughter felt empty, and the gold in his hands began to feel heavy, almost as if it carried a curse. Then one night, something unusual happened. Nathan dreamed he was standing in a long, dark tunnel. On one side, he saw Elijah, radiant and smiling, sitting beside Abraham in a place filled with light. On the other side, Nathan stood alone, surrounded by his gold, but it had turned to ash. He cried out for mercy, begging for a drop of water to cool his tongue. But a voice answered, "In your lifetime you received your good things, and Elijah his bad. Now he is comforted, and you are in torment." Nathan woke up trembling, drenched in sweat. At dawn, he rushed outside. The old beggar's usual spot by the gate was empty. One of the servants said quietly, "Master, Elijah passed away in the night." For the first time in years, Nathan fell to his knees. He wept, not for Elijah, but for the man he had become. He remembered the words of Scripture his father once read to him. "But you, man of God, flee from all this, and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, endurance, and gentleness." From that day on, Nathan changed. He sold one of his estates and built a home for widows and orphans. He invited the poor to his table, calling them friends. And each time he gave, his heart felt lighter. Years later, as an old man, Nathan was often seen sitting outside that same gate where Elijah once sat, feeding children, listening to their laughter, and smiling as the sun set. Someone once asked him, "Why do you give so much away?" Nathan smiled gently and said, "Because I learned that the greatest wealth isn't what you hold in your hands, it's what you share from your heart." And when Nathan finally passed from this world, those who buried him said, "He died rich, not in gold, but in grace." And so, from Nathan's story, we're reminded of something deeper. Wealth and power are gifts, but they carry weight. If we use them with love, they set us free. True riches aren't measured in gold or power, but in compassion, humility, and grace. As Paul reminded Timothy, pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, endurance, and gentleness. Because in the end, that's the wealth that never fades. Subscribe for more powerful stories daily.